to have value has to forget the screen, or people wouldn't be giving so much meaning to so many things. Yeah, but because it's just like a field day of meaning giving, I can make mountains out of this molehill, I can do this and that. Yes, if you had the ever-present sense of screening, it would that game would be altered. Yeah, you wouldn't take anything that seriously. You just wouldn't. I mean, the head wouldn't be able to even do it. It would just what the fuck, really. But because for something to appear, there's got to be a denial of something that's always appearing or never appears. Yes, there has to be. For this to have meaning, there's got to be a lack of meaning to something else. Yeah. So there's a statement in the Course in Miracles where it says, all right, it's talking about what we're not. Yeah, we'll go over it another day. I should know it by heart because I use it a lot. But it's one of the best descriptions of what we're not. And it says, okay, it describes what you're not, and it says, one sentence, it says, hey, the brain interprets to the body of which it is a part. So that explains basically everything. So how you're seeing things is from the brain. Yes, and then it's collated, and then you get your little story, the interpretation. Yes, the screen is left behind, yet we're totally, completely dependent on the screen, but there we are running, giving 3D to the appearances, weight and depth and time and space, yes? But it's all dreaming, yes? It truly is, it's dreaming. It's just like the dreaming at night, but in this dream, we don't have a morning. Yeah. The dreams at night are seen to be dreams because there's a morning. Yeah. We come to, and then that which was scaring us while we were dreaming doesn't, because we're now in a different condition. We don't have a morning for the awake dream. Yeah. It's not built in. So the awake dream can continue on and on and on. So satsang is sort of like bringing a morning to the awake dream, so that you could see the dreaming. It's not like there's no dreaming. No, there's just shit's happening and all like that. But the most important cog of it is question, which is that sense of being a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. Through all the turmoils and all the ups and downs, I'm something that's not an up or down. But no, in fact, you're an apparition being brought about by the claiming of the ups and downs. Yeah? You're not something that doesn't get moved by the wind. You're part of the wind. You're part of the mental wind. You're an aspect of the dreaming. You're not removed from it. You're not sitting on the bank of the river, observing the river. You're fucking in the river.
No F word.
Yeah? What happened?
No F words.
Oh, no F words. Oh, I can't even see that. Oh, it's from her. I got some words for you, baby. So the whole point of this message, really, I feel, is just, we feel life as verbing, yes, but it's interpreted as a noun. Yeah. So let's just look at that noun, because that noun has a huge amount of influence. Yeah. Because let's say when you're seeing everything is verbing, life is happening. When a noun is inserted, life is happening to me. As soon as life starts happening to you, there's a losing of the living, and now you're getting a replacement of an interpretation. Yes? And like when you were a kid and you put everything in your mouth and you smelled and everything, now all that gets underdeveloped and it's all up here, in the head. And it's like those dogs when they have mange, they wear those little things. We're sort of basically picking up our own station, K-Paul, all day, like broadcasting, and it's just a bunch of golden oldies, really, that no one else listens to whatsoever. But because there's a cherishing, like Buddhism uses the word cherishing. I don't know what it would mean in other languages, but it means, it has a quality to it. Cherishing is not just liking something, it's sort of like massaging it, and there's a cherishing of self, this idea, yeah? So basically, non-duality is you just sit here, you have all the experiences of traveling here, yes? And then there's an understanding that's presented that hopefully brings into stark contrast the misunderstandings that we live by, yeah? That's all. And then it's like the thing Ramana said, where the guy's walking around and finally he realizes something's hurting in its foot, and finally it stops and takes its shoe off and looks and says, there's a big thorn in the foot. And so it looks around and it sees another thorn, and it's going to use that thorn to take out the first thorn. It doesn't replace the first thorn with the second thorn. Yeah, it throws both of them away. That's sort of what this message is like. It brings about an understanding of the misunderstandings. It's not a replacement, yeah? Because the head is going to keep coming out with misunderstandings. You're not convincing it. See, you believe you need to be convinced. You're not convincing it. The programming is of a sheep, yeah? And it's mechanical. It's not like the lion chose to be a sheep. There's just a mechanical activity of sheeping that seemingly is fooling or covering up the lionness. Yeah, that's all. And it's going to keep doing it. But now its ability to do something will change, because it's all about us as the dreaming. Yeah, it's about us as the dreaming. The dreaming doesn't have to change one bit. You just see it differently. Yeah. So now, while you live a life as a glove, you don't take yourself to be the glove. You realize what's animating the glove is that hand, let's say. No matter what the glove does, you're very clear you're not the glove. Yeah. So you're not trying to become a hand as a glove. You're realizing you're not a glove as a hand. That's the message. Yeah. And so if we keep repeating it, sometimes because the habit of like the needle like jerking over to that groove, yeah? So you ever see the old LPs and you'd have the thing and then it'd hit a groove and get stuck and keep repeating, and then somebody would move and just put it back and then hit, yeah? And just that's what satsang's like. You're just picking up the head, putting it in, and then see how it goes, yeah? Yeah? We're not changing that groove, it's there. But the meaning will be completely different. Yeah? Instead of, it will never work until that groove is fixed. No. It's working beautifully with a lot of grooves. Yeah? And then for you, when you see that it's not a mechanical condition, I mean, it's not a volitional or choice condition, there's a relief from that bondage of what I would call self. Yeah? The sense of being the owner and the doer and the thinker and the feeler and the taster and the loser and the winner, yeah? All of that stuff of claiming shit that we have nothing to do with. You're relieved a lot of it, yeah? So you travel lighter, yeah? And what more do you want? And especially we look at the setting Amelia set up. Traveling lighter in Italy is nice, yeah? But the traveling lighter is the basis. I mean, I used to give talks. It was like Eckhart Tolle meeting the Sopranos. We gave talks in Staten Island and fucking places that were fucking, they were not conducive to the present day satsang arena. Yet, I mean, everyone has the spark. Sometimes it's difficult for it to shine here, but it's always shining. That light is contextual, but it can be difficult to shine here in certain situations, yes? Because of things. That's why in the old days, if you believe the old days, non-duality wasn't presented to any Tom, Dick, and Harry, yeah? And Jill and Joe, yes? Because it would be like pearls before swine. You would hear this and you weren't capable of letting it land, and then you'd end up having an idea about it, which would cause you not to be open to investigating it. Yeah. So now, oh, I've heard about that, and you think you moved. I have another set knowledge. Just like in recovery, people go to one meeting, they go in late, they leave early, and then they think they know AA. Oh, I know that shit. I know about that. No, you didn't. You went to one meeting for 40 minutes. And the thing you most terribly need, you think you know now, and it's off the shelf. Yeah. Oh, no, that's not going to work. That's the insanity. Well, in the past, they wouldn't drop this little bomb on people because it would be wasted in a sense. The only way somebody could approach it would be through a mental, platform. Yeah. And basically nothing would be like that desert tortoise met with that coyote in the desert, and the coyote wants to get to the meat, wouldn't be able to get to the meat, and it would lose interest in it. Yeah. But that's what non-duality would be like. If it's not available to you, there's a point to it. Yeah. Because to know it before you can know it would be, yes. So this is the point. But now information is galore. You can go to any website and go into some fucking arcane situations, yes, while you're having your Rice Krispies. You know what I mean? Oh, yes, and then walk around thinking you know a lot of shit. But this isn't the point. This isn't the point at all. This isn't about knowledge. It's not about intellect. It isn't. Yeah? Those things are devices that need to be starved in a way, so that you'll see they're not your own devices. How are you going to see the apparatus of grasping while it's grasping all the time? If you constantly give it something to know, it's going to do it. It's when it's going like this and nothing is given, you get to see it. You get to see it naked. And then you realize, Jesus Christ, you now are seeing the misunderstandings you're using to explain light now are brought into the light. And you see the misunderstanding. Yeah. And then you get the message. You get the message of that being ourselves reality. The greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality. And when it says being ourselves reality, we are always being ourselves reality, but there's the mental appearance of this story. And so the mental appearance of this story, this is the warning, will say, I'm reality, yes? As the dreamt. The dreamt will now start thinking, oh, everything is dreaming, but it will be the exception. Oh, yes, I'm dreaming everything. No, you're in the mix. You're the dreamt in this appearance. That's the news, yeah? What used to not be included when you were having all your realizations, oh, I'm getting super clear. I'm going to start a blog. Wow, this is a big one. I can tell, a big epiphany starting. Let's call up my friends. Oh, wait a minute. I'll be busy this weekend. Don't call me. I'll tell you all about it. Yeah, well, this is what happens here. This is what usually occurs, but what non-duality presents is you're seen. Yeah. That which was thinking or was having all these great realizations is seen as not you. And then something can come to an end. You realize that which can be seen cannot be that which is seen. That was assuming it was behind the camera has been noticed in front of the camera. The gig's up. Yeah. You got caught with your pants down. You saw the emperor with no clothes. Now, the thing is, the emperor's going to put a lot of clothes on, but you're going to see it. Like I talked with Amelia. When I was growing up at a certain age, I saw my mother naked, yeah, which wasn't a good move. Yeah, just leave it at that. So I saw my mother naked, which wasn't a good move. And then every time I saw her with clothes, I saw her naked. So the same thing with the message. When you hear this message, it doesn't matter if the emperor has a huge, extensive wardrobe. You see it with no clothes. Yes? There's a finality to misunderstanding. It comes to an end. Yeah? It does. It runs into its last breath. And a loss of interest occurs. Yeah? So it has these marks on a map, but there's no water. Interest and attention has moved and now is enriching your day instead of enslaving it in these dry fucking deserts. Yes? So you come to the point. What's looking is what you're looking for. Yeah. What's looking is what you're looking for. There's no time. You can't catch it. You can't act like, okay, I'm gonna act like I'm not interested. No, what's looking is that. You can't see it. Yeah? That which can study can't be studied. That which is studying cannot be studied. You can't. You can't get behind it as that which is before it. Yeah? You can't. That's the great news. So what happens? There's a loss of interest in all those things, and what occurs? You sense that presence. Yeah? And it enriches your day. It allows you to be here without any fucking skillful means or exquisite esoteric chanting or stuff. You're just here all the time. Yeah? So it's like that thing we talked about in Turkey. I went to Turkey, and when you get in Istanbul, there's these two great sites. There's the Blue Mosque, and then there's the Sophia, which was an amazing thing. For hundreds of years or more, they thought it was a Muslim temple. Then they were cleaning the tiles, and they realized there was all these early Christian tiles underneath. This is sort of like the message in a way. Yeah? They lived as if it was a whatever they call it in Muslim a temple for hundreds and hundreds of years. And then finally they were cleaning it, and some of the tiles fell off, and there was tiles underneath the tiles, and it was an early Christian church. Mind-boggling, eh? Was it there? Yes, it had always been there. Yet there was something covering it, yeah? But did that which was covering it negate it? No. It was there, unknown to us, unsuspected resource, and then it became suspected. They cleaned it up, and it's unbelievable. So there we were, and this guy, very nicely dressed, comes up to us. We're walking around, and he wants to give us a tour. Speaks very good English. I'm suspicious, but it's all right. He takes us around, and he takes us to these places, and then he brings us to this door on the side of a red brick wall, and a guy that looks just like him opens the door with the same type of suit, and they bring us into a rug emporium, Oriental rug, Turkish rugs, incredible. And as you're walking in, they give you they say, hey, do you want some apple juice or do you want a Turkish coffee? I say, I'll have apple juice. And they go, Mr. Paul, and then they bring you in, okay? And then they put on a show, at least 3 hours. You could sit there all day, they do it. They bring them out, they're twirling them, they're beautiful too. But I didn't have a flaw. F-L-O-O-R. I had nowhere to live. I was on a round-the-world trip. So I had a built-in immunity to buying the rug, yeah, because I don't have any place to put it. So I'm saying, this is great, everyone, but I'm not reaching my wallet. Nothing's moving. It could have gone on for 30 days. I wasn't going to buy a rug because there was a knowledge in me that I don't have a flaw. I don't live anywhere. So then they're telling me, when they finally were confronted with that information, well, we can fold it up and you can put it in your backpack. I'm not going to Thailand with a fucking Oriental rug. Yeah? It doesn't make there's just no way. And I wasn't going to be budged because there was a prior knowledge. I don't have a flaw. This is what satsang is like. Yeah? It gives you a new basis that can be relied upon. It does not have to be remembered, because it can't be forgotten. Yeah? It doesn't have to be worked over or worked on. You don't polish the mirror. The mirror is empty, yes? And then it verifies itself by the living of it. Yeah. You get relieved of the bondage of self. Does the bondage of self keep happening? Yes, it does. Because it's not you choosing it. You didn't choose to do these things. You didn't choose to make all the knots, and then you've got to live the consequences. Yeah, you didn't. It just goes on doing what it does. But now, like with the zooms, instead of being the huge square with all the squares in it, right? It's a small square in the appearances, in the big square. And your attention is on the big square. Yeah? Now this one little thing is acting and speaking from and implying that it is the big square, but you know better. Yeah? No matter how much it yaps and shit, you don't see the little thing as the big square. Hallelujah. It's put in its place. And now, yes, it has needs and drives. You don't starve yourself because you're not a body. You fucking probably eat better because you're not a body. Yeah, you'll be surprised because you believe everything is based on you and it ain't. The action figure has its own momentum, yeah? And it goes towards it. And you really thinking it to be the Lord of the center of the universe is the weight it really would like to shuck off, yeah? At all times. So now finally that urban renewal project's canceled and you travel lighter. Because awareness, there's no lighter or heavy in awareness. This is the only place where awareness is valuable, is where we can seem to be not aware, really. So this is it. We're all awake, but we can seem not to be awake to that, or we can appear or seem to be awake to that. That's all it is, yeah. The awakeness isn't predicated on you believing you're awake or not. It isn't. That's the great news. Yeah, it's completely reliable because its reliability has nothing to do with your reliability. You've moved from the unreliable to the reliable, and it brings about the ability to enjoy peace of mind and chill out and shit like that. What more do you want? Yeah. You're going to go to Lake Seat today. Look at this place. Look at this weather. Yeah. You throw a satsang or two in. Doing how much more do you want? This is awesome. We had a nice satsang. You better catch us at breakfast. I think that's the best one. Yeah. Yeah. Because then there's no formality to it. He was talking about we did a documentary with a guy years and years and years ago. It's just traveling later. I mean, you've heard satsang. And then you'll see that the head says it's the hearer of satsang, and you see that, yeah. And then when it says it's the hearer of a lot of satsang, you see that, yeah. You're always before everything. It's not some forced position you got to fucking, fight to get. It's your inherent condition of being before everything, yeah? And hopefully an understanding will help you to recognize how the system overrides that beforeness by implying that it's before, yeah? And then what you are becomes a goal that it may or may not entertain, all the while having no fear that it's ever going to arrive at that goal, because the only way it's going to arrive at that goal as that, yeah, which is not the goal, yeah. So you're not going to be there to get it. That's the good news. Yeah, the pressure's off. You can really enjoy today. Yeah, you've been fired, so to speak. You got a nice stipend, a nicer retirement plan. Just fucking chill out. Maybe put yourself to use with other people. What? Yeah. Service? I don't have time for that. I'm a chosen one. No, you're not. No. The wisdom of no escape is truly that. You realize you can't get out of something you're not in. You can't do it. It's impossible. You can't escape from an imaginary place. That's it. This whole point this isn't another sophisticated, subtle way to get out. It's a realization you're not in. You've not been in. We had this thing, I did this thing in Australia, 2001. I wasn't going to do retreats because I had enough of that. But this was presented as like a therapeutic retreat. Yeah, and it was set up by these Osho people, Rajneesh, yeah, and they had stolen an idea from another group called the Miracle Path, the Way of Love, and they called it the Path of Love or something. They changed it, but I didn't know anyone there. Everyone there was from Osho, this Rajneesh, and then but I went in. I did it, and every day they had a very good way of inducing cathartic events. Yeah. So they'd be talking in the morning, and then the afternoon they'd clear the room, put mattresses everywhere, and all these people would be sitting on the circumference, not saying anything, just holding the space. They had a DJ, and they'd start inducing, and everyone, went off crying and shit like that. So like the 6th day, I went off on one thing, and I'm crying, and I'm just yelling and screaming, I can never get back. Now, for the people running the thing, that was like I hit the bing. I became the numero uno. Never get back. So they led me out of the group. The first person led out. I supposedly had a big awakening. I can never get back. But after about a week or two, I realized because I never left. The feeling that I could never get back was drenched in emotion and longing and what did I do? Yes? Had tons of extra luggage with the idea I can never get back. But really realizing I'd never left had nothing. I had never seen it that way till I saw it. And then when I saw it, I never saw it the other way again. Never. Yeah? All it needed was one little hit. Because this needs a lot of convincing. This is very convincing. This needs a whole lot of convincing, a huge amount. And it can't hold its form. It's got to constantly be reinforced. This is incredibly convincing. Yeah? BMO. Yeah? On having never left. So how many trips do you need to take to be greeted with the same statement on having never left? The head will never present that as a way. It always has to include itself. Yeah? It can't imagine that this is the way it is. It can't imagine it. Yeah? And it can't imagine how it is because it has to include itself, which isn't it. So there's the loss of interest in that is what allows the recognition on having never left. Yeah? So how many arrivals will it take to realize you've never left? I don't know. But we're here for 6 more days. Yeah, hopefully. Just keep putting it out because basically that's the message. Oh, I've gone this or no, on having never left. You've never gone anywhere. You're never going to go anywhere. Yeah? Your trajectory is got a leash. You can never leave. You can think you went somewhere, you never did. You can think you're never gonna go, you never. Yes? It's just all. Yeah. And so it brings about an ease and comfort. Yeah. Isn't that an incredible pressure? Could you imagine believing, like they said, that first source of guilt in the Course in Miracles? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that guilt of you separated from the Godhead or something, yes? So we believe we've done something or we left somewhere, and then we're constantly attempting to get back in the good graces of that infinite thing, yes? But you never left. Yeah. So, any questions today?
Paul, can you talk a bit about, like the Course talks about, and you have too, about how there are no effects? Nothing has any, like...
Well, they're effects, but they're causeless effects. Because your reality, they feel like they're real, yes? But they're causeless effects. My idea of causeless effects are like an effect a dream would have, yeah? So in the dreaming, there's a tiger there, and it's causing an effect in you of being a huge amount of fear and anxiety, yes? And then you wake up, and you see that tiger wasn't real, then the anxiety and the fear it was provoking isn't provoked. Yeah? There's still a tiger, but now it's a dream tiger. Yeah? So that would be a causeless effect. Yeah? So there wasn't a tiger, but there was an effect as if there was a tiger. That's a causeless effect. So are there real effects without a cause? The assumption is no. So this is dreaming. Yeah? The whole thing here, though, is we don't have a morning. All the knowledge you have about the dreaming at night doesn't come from the dreaming at night. It comes from when you wake up in the morning. Yes? Most of it is forgotten. But any knowledge you have wasn't acquired in the dreaming. It's when you wake up and you realize, wow, yeah? Here we don't have a built-in waking up. We don't have a morning in the awake dream. You need to hear about it so that being seemingly traveling through it, you recognize it. I mean, you've got all the evidence right where you are. It's not the way it's being sorted and collated is what's causing its reinforcement. And we're introducing another way of collating it, yeah, and seeing it with the hopes that it will bring about an understanding that will bring you relief. Not in it, but from it. Yeah? So those desires and drives to constantly get relief in it, you'll get relief from it and from that. Yeah. So yes, what would be the effects of a dream? They would be causeless effects, yes? Effects, but they were felt, yes? When you were dreaming, that tiger induced a lot of anxiety in you, yes? The anxiety only stopped when you woke up to see that it was a dreamt tiger. Then it doesn't have the ability to cause the effect. You're actually the cause of the causeless effects. Yeah? Yeah. I hope that didn't help, but that's... Causeless effects, they're attempting... One of the aspects I feel of the Course in Miracles is their description of this event as dreaming. Yes? It's an important understanding because most people take it to be real, obviously. So the idea of a causeless effect is just that, something that is an appearance that seemed to cause an effect. How could an appearance affect you? It's not real. So obviously you're the one that caused the effect. Yeah? You are what you're looking for. You and I, as what we are, is what's giving everything all the meaning it has. The dreamt tiger didn't give any meaning. Our reaction to it as a real tiger provoked the meaning. Yes? The tiger was a dreamt tiger to begin with. Buddhism, everything is entirely empty. What is it entirely empty of? Of real meaning. Yeah? We are the reality, dreaming. And not as Mary and Paul, obviously, but as as this activity. So, Course in Miracles says mind projects, and then we seem to perceive, yeah? So mind is projecting what? Dreaming, yeah? This identification as the dreamt causes this to see what's being dreamt and projected as a reality. So we believe we're perceiving a reality, yet we're only perceiving a projection, a misperceiving of it, based on an identity as something we're not. Yeah? You keep trying to change this and allow it to hold new knowledge, which it can't. It has a certain pay scale. It doesn't have it's built to understand in a certain way. Yeah? It's biased to begin with. This is not an open source, open to any, no, it has a bias and a predilection. Yeah? It's a failed system. That's its value. Like it says in the Course, what can a failed system show us? It's failed. That's its value. Yeah? So there are effects here because it's reality believing what's going on. An appearance believing what's going on doesn't do shit. We're reality. So if we take an appearance to be real, it can seemingly have real effects on us, yes? How can something, didn't you, in recovery, we have a lot of people come in and then they share about their lives. And a lot of times you hear this a lot, that they had an idea what was the worst thing that ever happened to them. Yes, the worst thing was when they got pulled over by the cops and shit like that. Then they're just in a few months being in AA, they realize that worst thing was the best thing that ever happened to them. Why? Because of what has occurred since. They've woken up that they were, addicted to something, and now they're getting relief from it. Yeah, they're seemingly being freed from the bondage of self. So now that worst thing that ever happened is seen as the best thing that ever happened. What the hell was it? It was neither, obviously. If something was the worst thing that ever happened, it would be difficult to turn it into the best thing that ever happened. But it wasn't. It's how you saw it. You saw it was the worst thing, and now you're seeing it as the best thing. That's how extreme the dreaming is. If something had a meaning of being the worst thing, it would probably be pretty damn stubborn to give up, no, I'm the worst thing. You'd have to really twist it into, okay, I'm the best thing. No. It was nothing. It is nothing. You gave it a meaning. Your reality. Yeah? Nothing here overrides you. You give everything all the meaning it has. It doesn't say on page 812 in the Secret Course in Miracles, there's a certain species of tree that's actually giving everything all the meaning it has, more than you are. No. Your reality. You're the dreaming here. Yeah? Don't you see the functionality of it? It doesn't mean anything until it becomes a sense-feltness. You recognize what you're not. I like mostly the format of negating what you're not, but you can get a sense when what you are as an activity is described that goes in a similar fashion. I just don't like a lot of that way. I don't like describing what we are. I much rather describe what we're not. But in the Course in Miracles, the idea of dreaming is a description of what we are. We are the dreaming, yes? So you can get a sense of, you can get a sense of what you're not from that. I don't like that as a basic meal, because then there's a sense of you gets grown. So I like negation, but yes. So when it's describing what you're actually doing here, yes, the activity of what you're doing here, you get a sense that I'm not this that thinks it's doing it. It's just that simple. What I'm thinking is I'm trying to get an advantage with this one little person so they'll lend me some money or something. They're not like, I'm giving everything all the meaning it has, completely escapes this. Completely. It's a, what? No fucking way. It's got a different agenda. And it doesn't have an agenda to the stars. It's limited. It's in a certain box that it can't go out, it can't leave. See, it can't leave the system that's projecting it. It's not gonna, I'm gonna be a greater self, and no, there's no you. It's only right now that there's an appearance of it, yeah? And then even in this day of appearance, there's gonna be a night where it's disappeared. It can't even hold itself longer than 18 hours. Look at some of the people that got here. They were up for 12 hours. They were fucking zombies. Jesus Christ. They were ready to rip you a new one if you fucking took that extra fry from their fucking plate. It was all just one day of being awake all day. You're like fucking, all your understanding's out the window. It's a fucking, you're not going to get it. Yeah? You just see you're not that, so you're not embarrassed by it. You're not that. Yeah, my fucking pants is open, I'm sticking out. Yeah, this is all you get. Yeah. Jesus Christ. I thought he'd be more sophisticated. No. He's just a stumbling, bumbling character. And not. See, that's the beauty of it. Yeah. If you're seeing this as you, Oh, there's a lot of blinders on. A lot of blinders. I don't want people to see this or that. When you're seeing as not you, it's all helpful. It all gets to the same point. I'm not that. Yeah. If you feel like if you don't want to feel like a fraud, you're going to feel like one all day. Yeah. If you're thinking that there's any truly valid point of view, you're mistaken. Everyone has a valid point of view, and because it's a point of view, it's not valid. It's just, but the sense is it's valid as a point of view, yeah? But all point of views have no value. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I have something on that. I think so. Aren't there any like grains of truth in the dreaming? Because like
Yeah.
in my life, yeah, but in my life I feel like intuition and gut feeling has led me closer
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So what is that? What is that quality in the dreaming that leads us?
You, what you really are.
Yeah, the reality
Yeah.
underneath it all is there.
So intuition is like. Can you elaborate a bit on?
Let's just say it's a stream of the broadband. So when the self-centeredness doesn't reign supreme, you access different informational, let's say, sources or streams. And after a while, you get used to them, or because they demonstrate a reliability that the self-centeredness doesn't. So after a while, you honor when they show up at first, because the head will forget a miracle in a half an hour, and will remember a seeming slight for 50 years. So there is a little effort. You've got to, hey, wait a minute. I had this little inclination. I followed it. It seemed to be win-win for everyone. Hey, so now you start picking up or getting attuned. So the action figure gets like a guitar restrung. Yeah, there's new strings are put on it, and yeah, notes are hit, and then there's a recognition. The guitar has cognizance. It's sentient, so it picks up that bing, and it vibrates with a note that it has relied on. Yeah. So this thing starts feeling much more at ease, instead of feeling like the shit's gonna hit the fan every second. Yes. Yeah. So the effects here are shown here quite a lot. Yeah. But see, the effects that really are influential are not of this place. They come into it from what we're in. I mean, what we're of, yeah? So like Jesus said, which is a beautiful negation, you're in this world, but you're not of this world. So look at a description of what you think this world is and recognize you're not of that. Yes? So obviously the time is a huge thing here. He's basically saying you're not of time. So he gives you what you can describe and feel, and you've run up against quite a lot. He's not saying you're not of this place, he's saying you're in this place, but then the answer is you're not of it. So the same thing with the head. We're looking at the head, but instead of having it just constantly, habitually imply it's all about you, we're putting something else in there. Well, it's not you. It's the same data, it's just being put in, you're looking at it from a different view, that's all. You're gonna have the same information going on, but instead of it implying you all day, it's now being used to question, hey, wait a minute, I'm not that, yeah? It's like throwing a wrench in the works. The works continue, yeah? The mechanicalness, but what's being implied can be changed, yeah? With this understanding. You hear this and you realize, Jesus, I'm not that. Yeah? And then we have the policeman thief idea, because it's not put to rest. Yeah? Because the claiming is going to claim wherever you are, seemingly, wherever your camera is located, and now you're seeing from there, it's going to arise and say, I'm the seer. Yeah, so it's the policeman thief idea. So many people get to that first point of seeing the thief, but they have realized the reaction of the mental state to seeing the thief is the policeman, which for some of us is worse than the thief. Because at least you had some fun as the thief. Now the policeman, you've got perfection becomes a dominant, I've got to be perfect. It's just fucking insane. A big stick up the ass. So now you see, wait a minute, I'm neither the thief nor the policeman. Yeah? Wow. So every time, because the aperture is going to open up, every time the aperture opens up, in time, the head's going to claim to be that which is seeing from there. Yeah, you just say, well, I'm not that, and then there you go. Yeah, you catch it a few times, and just like we said earlier, when I was in that emporium in Turkey with all those rugs, I still had the knowledge I had no flaw. It didn't matter if I would have been there 18 hours. I had the same knowledge that I had with 1 hour. Yeah, it's just like when I went to see Ramesh Balsekar when I was younger. Because he was 85 at the time. I thought he was going to be dead, so I thought I'd like to see him because this book, Who Cares, had brought about a lot of value. So I went there, and he talked with me, and he was saying about, he used a term, and it's just an imagery. Yeah, so it's not the way it is, but he said impersonal presence and personal presence, okay? So the personal presence would be this activity of being Paul, right? Or seemingly Paul. So he said, okay, Paul, do you have a place to live? I said, yeah, back in America. Because he says, okay, so when you go to work, yeah, when you're at work, do you have to keep chanting, I have a house, I have a house? No, you're at work, you're away from the house, but you know you have a house. Yeah, so you're not, and so if I do overtime, does more time make me forget I have a house? No, I have a knowledge. Not a thinking knowledge. I'm assured I have a house. I left there, and so I'm at work. There's no house there. I don't see the house. I'm not feeling the house, but I know the house. So the impersonal presence, the personal presence doesn't have to keep chanting, I have a house, I have a house, I have a house. Yeah? It doesn't have to remember because it has a house. That's the message in a way. Yeah? So the idea of, see, the thing that has to constantly be remembered is thinking it has to remember something else. You realize you're not that which constantly has to be remembered. Just like I knew I didn't have a flaw in Turkey. Would I have known I didn't have a flaw in Nepal? Probably. Nepal, Turkey, the length of the visit, the trip wouldn't have changed it. I knew I didn't have a house to live in, so I'm not going to buy a rug. Yeah? So this is the same idea. Yeah. After a while, satsang, something gets established. And now when all the information is collated and being presented, instead of just filing in, all about me, you ask, hey, I'm not that. Yes? And then see what happens. Just like the difference between a thought and my thought. You can very quickly realize there's a weight distribution that happens. There's a thought and my thought. My thought can ruin my day. Yeah? A thought can't, but my thought can. What's that? That's our role. We're dreaming. The thought doesn't have the meaning we think it has. It's given a meaning by us. Yes. Not us as Paul, but us, the activity of dreaming. So, yes. Any more question with that? No?
Kind of.
Yeah.
So, like, we're in the dreaming, we're just...
No, we're not in the dreaming.
We
are the dreaming.
Okay, and here's the action figure. And it's quite clear what separation is as an action figure. And I get a glimpse of the non-separation. I want to maybe go into that space.
Well, there isn't a non-separation. There's just an appearance of separation. Okay. There's always been non-separation. It's not like something happened and it's going to be unhappened. It's an appearance. So everything here can only reach a level of appearance. It's not so. It can seem to be so. It can appear to be so, but it's not so. Even something you believe is so, if you came back to it 20 years from now, it may not be so.
I want to just add on, like, are we clear about separation? Like when you mentioned time, like we can use the word time, but I mean, eventually, like, how do you pin it down? So are we clear about separation?
Maybe it's like no, it's like the perceived can't be perceiving, right? So it's what you said about intuition. You know, there's a sense of things.
Well, yeah, because if you're a radio, you can pick up a lot of stations.
Right.
Well, let's say there's an addiction to one station, you're going to get only one sort of news feed, so to speak, yeah? Which is probably not going to have an intuitive public broadcasting insertion occasionally. Yeah, it's just going to be the same old, same old. But your ability to pick up a lot of frequencies there. It's just the self-centeredness is sort of like a jealous frequency. Yeah, so K-Paul is a very limited station. It's mostly golden oldies being projected into a future of golden oldies. Yeah, but the head hasn't lost its ability to pick up other information. It's just not accessing it. Yeah. So then what happens is there's a little relief in your life as an action figure, and then you start picking up shit. Like in recovery, we have this word, the pause. You start feeling a stopping of all the activity, and then you're that which continues. And then you start having intuitive thoughts, and then you have a gut feeling, and you go with it, and it works out. And then you're getting used to a new programming. Yeah, and it's always happening on the move because you can't go into a garage for 6 months and so now the head's entertaining new ideas and new information is coming. Yeah, yeah. But the idea of separation is only through perception. Yes. Yeah. We perceive something, but the perception is biased. It's programmed. Yeah. It has an agenda. It sees everything as how it pertains to you. Yeah, it does. It's bringing everything into one point, and that point, in a sense, is pointless, really. Yeah. So when that changes, obviously, you're going to pick up different stations. Some Russian speaking or something like that. Some information comes in. Hey, I'm going to go with that, and then you see it works. Yeah. Yeah. But there's no separation. Everything is an appearance in dreaming. Yeah?
And then the dreaming becomes happier and the living becomes more animated in a way?
Well, I don't know. You'll find out. I don't think there's any, it's not like, the dreaming and then you write, then it gets, no, you'll find out. Yeah? You entertain these ideas and you see what happens. Obviously, a lot of people came here because hearing the satsangs has brought about a traveling lighter, or a sense of this sounds right. So you followed that, and then here we are. And then there'll be more feeding, and the point isn't there's a reliability that's available right now at all times, and it has no requirements other than the ones the head has made up, and you can get over those. Yes. And so instead of having to this isn't like a meritocracy. You don't have to accrue value. Yeah. You don't. You just recognize stuff, and then things dry up as if they never happened. And then you're, if you have a seed assignment like this, shit will be revealed. Not because of me, but because of a position of sharing it. Seriously, I'm not getting shit. Yeah, that ended years ago. I realized years ago I'm not getting anything out of this. Yeah, yeah, just show up, and I like the sense of emptiness. I do, in a weird way. It's like it's nice to be here and not be here. It's cool. Yeah, yeah. So yes, intuition, all these are just different bandwidths, so to speak, that can be picked up. Yeah, like you can't blame the radio for the music it's playing. Right? The radio isn't a self-centered radio thing. Oh, I chose to play the rap. No, it was the knob went to it. The music came through. It has nothing to do with you. You're just a transmitter receiver in a sense. Yeah. Now it would be important. What the hell is playing the role of gatekeeper? What's allowing what to come in and what to go out? Because you're getting fucking suffocated by it. The self-centeredness is. Yeah, it's not a very comfortable thing to wear. Yeah, yeah, yes.
I have another question.
I know. I'm expecting you'll have more.
No, so
The days.
my understanding is that the dreaming is reinforced by selfing, like that selfing is going on, attributing things that happening to me as being happening to me.
Yeah,
But so if the psyche is working on two levels, like our conscious and our unconscious, a lot of our consciousness is unconscious. So if the selfing is going on in my unconscious, how can I like work consciously with that force?
who
that
wants to
keeps
work
me-
consciously with it?
Yeah.
No, really. No, it's not a trick question, but who wants to work consciously with it? That's the unconscious Paul. Yeah. Paul that's thinking it's very conscious is unconscious of the biggest aspect of all. I'm not that. It's super clear about everything but that.
So just leaving that basically and work on the parts that you can.
Work on a car or something. Work on something you can actually fix. I'd cease working on you in a lot of respects. I would.
Paul, I was
Maybe you'd realize you're okay instead of trying to be, make yourself okay. Maybe if you stop, it would see, or at least tell the truth. You're not that can't stop. Yeah, yeah. Just see what happens.
Paul,
Yeah.
I was thinking how with speaking on the you're not gonna get shit and giving all the meaning it has, I used to have a dream and then, put meaning to it. Like, oh, what does this mean? Google this meaning of the dream or whatever. And then now with the dreaming, I just am like, oh, dreaming just gives us, that experience, that human experience just gives us a context to talk about this place, right? And now I have a dream and I just have almost like a byproduct of gratitude, I'm not that, who cares what it means? I'm not, there's no special meaning for my life, but now I have the language to talk about this,
Yeah.
the dreaming here.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But it's okay if it goes a different way too.
Yeah.
Well, it's based on what would think it's not okay.
Right.
You're not that.
There's no
So there's a
sad way.
loss of interest in the mental proceeding of things when actually the mental comes after things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the mental coming after says it precedes everything. So it comes up with an opinion after the fact and then says, I had an opinion. It's just, you don't have to see it, but there is, in time, this is the realm of selfing, yes? So you can basically see it through just looking at seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. That's the contact. Yeah? And thinking. Yeah? It's thinking about objects that are more subtle than a chair, but they're objects, thoughts, and ideas. Yes?
Yeah.
So there's those. So and there's the five senses, and Buddhism they talk the mind as a sixth sense. Okay, so that's the contact. Yeah, that's happening. And then after that, in time, something arises and claims that contact and takes the seeing to imply the seer. The seer does not come up without the seeing, but there's tons of seeing without a seer. The seeing is essential to the seer, but the seer is not essential to the seeing. I mean, why not have the horse in front of the cart? Look at the head. What does it do? It has the seer in front of the seeing. the seer becomes more important than the seeing. The hearer becomes more important than the hearer. And also, the heard is more important than the hearing. Yes? So the dualistic thing is almost like a vice where the hearing gets underestimated and underemphasized, and the two poles that were made from the claiming get emphasized, the hearer and the heard. How much we can all take, it's now the idea of being the hearer is different and what you're hearing is different, but it's the same thing for all of us. Yeah? In my case, the hearer would be Paul and the heard would be Michael. From Michael, it would be the hearer is Michael and the heard was Paul. Yeah? But it's the same principle. Yeah? Just, you don't need 800 hours of study. It's 5 minutes. Check it out. All right? Now, what would that emphasis imply? Check it out. Find out. What would it imply that the horse is completely underemphasized, which is completely necessary for the cart, and the cart is completely emphasized, which is completely unnecessary for the horse? I mean, yeah? Now, if there's a transaction that's very confusing down the road, who cares? That's the fundamental principle. It's revealed right there. It's just like the thing we used to say about that alien race sends a team of scientists to the Earth to study us, yes? And they have a 10-year grant, and they're given all this time, and they land in America. After 10 minutes observing, they call up their planet, hey, we're coming home. What about the 9 years? And hey, any society that has profit over the health of their people is insane. I don't need to see 800 examples of insanity. That's enough. I get it. It's insane. Yes? Yeah? You can talk around the bush and all, but it's a huge elephant in the room. Well, in us, it's a huge elephant. Yeah? Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching is what's happening. What am I listening to? An interpretation of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, which emphasizes the seer, the hearer, the feeler, the taster, toucher. There you go. And then the selfing continues to reinforce that, yeah, at the expense of the seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. So you move away from living and you get absorbed in an interpretation of life. Yeah, yeah. What's the center of it? Self. What is self? Selfing. There is no self. There is no noun. There's just an implying there's a noun by claiming the verbing of life. There you go. You have basic 101 description. Apply it. You just have it. It's fresh right off the fucking griddle. Just watch, listen to this, and see what it emphasizes. It has a completely different emphasis. When Huang Po says the perceiver cannot be what's perceiving, the head is completely the opposite. What's perceiving is the perceived. This is what's perceiving. Do you need to go through into great detail the effects of this 800 re-knotting? No, look at the fucking rope and then see the knot. Yeah, so it's like the rope and the snake. Yeah, the whole point of it, of going over the snake, isn't to know the snake. It's to realize it's not a snake. It's the rope. Yeah, then it's the snake book's that's it. The snake book is no more needing. I realize it's a rope. I don't need to study snakes unless I like to. Yeah, I was studying the snake because I thought the rope was a snake. Now I realize it's a rope. There you go. Yeah. Listen to your head for 5 minutes. Does it go against what Huang Po sufficiently put out when in the 1200s? Whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceiving. Listen to the head. Yeah. Whatever can be perceived, I'm exempted. Oh yeah, it's not you. Wait, no, not you. No, it skips here. Not you. Because we are, see, the seeing, yeah, it will totally go against the logic of the head, because the seeing is like a huge thumb sticking out. Yeah, we are awareness, like it or not. That's why it doesn't want to look that way. It just wants you to keep looking this way. Yes, let's look for the truth. Let's not realize we are it. Let's look for it. Yeah. I mean, we can go over and over and over it, but basically, this one thing has been duplicated. This one square, this one tile. Yeah? You can know all of these tiles by this one tile. It's the same size, basically, the same weight. Yeah? Look at where it's placed, and then you can know everything. Yeah? We've got the cart in front of the horse, the head does. It's looking for the horse from the cart. Yeah? It thinks it's going to move closer to the horse as the cart, or it moved farther away from the horse. It hasn't moved at all. It's the horse. So, yeah. Hey, let's go to the city, eh? Yeah, let's go. Thank you.
Thank you for.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah. Let's give them a little clap. Yeah. Oh, we